All right, Gridiron Elite here with Coach Lee Sawyer of Strom Thurmond. Gridiron Elite exposure for the CSRA. Coach, since '05, you know, with your state championship run, you pretty much had deep runs in the playoffs. What do you attribute that success to?
Well, we got a great community, you know, that football means a lot to the community. And, you know, I guess starting with that '04 team who won 10 ball games my first year, and you know, those seniors that year kind of set an example for how we're supposed to work, and you know how we're supposed to play. But you know, that and rich tradition. You know, I mean, this program's had some dips over the years, but for the most part, it's pretty rich tradition here, and the community is very supportive. You know, real positive support too.
Okay, moving back from, you know, you was 2A last year and you're going to be 3A this year. What do you look forward to the most about moving back up to 3A?
Well, we try to focus on ourselves. You know, what we like to say is, you know, we don't really care about A's, how many A's are in front of your name or whatever. We were in 3A '04 through '07, you know, and then we've been 2A '08 through last year. So we're kind of used to the region's going to be very similar to what it was when we left 3A. But, you know, my philosophy's always been, unless it's the big 4A teams, which have a lot of depth, I mean, I think good football teams are good football teams. You know, I think our '08 team, which was 12-0 and played Central, you know, that was as good a team as we've had. You know, we just ran into a real big physical Central team, and that, you know, they were 2A. So I think once you get to those Final Four teams, which we've been fortunate to be in the midst of the last 5 or 6 years, you know, I think regardless of what classification, a good football team's a good football team.
All right. The last 2 to 3 years you haven't played North Augusta. Do you miss that rivalry?
Yeah, I do. You know, it was, you know, some real good football games there, some great crowds, you know, financially for our athletic program. You know, it was big for us, you know, to try to support all of our athletic teams here. And, you know, I miss it. Coach Pippen does a great job down there. They're well coached. You know, it always prepared us, I thought, you know, for later on in the season.
All right, and the big game that's coming up this Friday night against Eastern Christian Academy, team out of Maryland that have 3 kids that's on Rivals, 1 5-star. Are you looking forward to that ball game, Coach?
Yeah, we are. You know, that's, and you talked about those 3. They've got 9. You know, that's been offered by Division I schools. So, you know, we feel like we like to play a tough non-region schedule, you know, to try to prepare us for our region and for playoff-type atmospheres. And from all I've heard, all the people who are going to be here, that'll definitely season us up. And playing a good team like that with great athletes, I think it exposes things that you need to work on, you know, for the remainder of the season.
And Coach, a lot of the area teams, you know, you played the Georgia versus South Carolina like y'all have played Laney in the past couple of seasons. But do you think this game, this upcoming Friday night, is going to open the door for South Carolina or Georgia teams to play more outside state boundaries?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we're going to have to next year because this is kind of a one-year deal between us and them. So we're going to have to go on the hunt, you know, as soon as the season's over for somebody else for that first week next year. So, you know, it may be somebody out of state again. I hope so. You know, that's always interesting.
All right. Coach, we appreciate the time. We had Lee Sawyer here, Strom Thurmond, head coach.
Give him a look, y'all. Give him a look. I'm tired of working. Keep working, keep y'all.
That's better. Full extension. His fingers got to be out.
Use that shoulder up, go.
We're here with Coach Dwayne Thomas of Eastern Christian Academy from Maryland, here to take on Strom Thurmond. This is Gridiron Elite exposure for the CSRA. We got a couple of questions for Coach. We've been sitting down, Coach, and I mean, things that's been coming out of you has been, you know, so upbringing to me, as, you know, me being a coach for 13 years, you know, and the insight that you have. What is a football athlete to you?
A football athlete, I got different philosophies. I think that young people now aspire to be as good as they could possibly be on the field of play. Sometimes that takes away from what they want to do academically. But at the end of the day, you know, I think academically, teachers, need to take some of the same approaches that coaches take. You know, I mean, we can get them on the field, we can push them, we can challenge them, and they rise to the occasion. Sometimes academically, there's a divide. I think we're in the era of the athlete-student, not the student-athlete. And so when athletics and academics can work hand-to-hand, you produce a much more dependable and accountable product. So academically, the kids got to aspire to be great. I have no, as a head coach, I have no regard for a state championship. I think when you are a high school coach, you are an educator. So your ultimate goal has to be to get kids to college. And so, we don't, we could care less, or I could care less about a state championship. I don't know what the kids care about, but I know at the end of the day, the parents want to make sure that their kids get a college education if they are able to, or if that's one of their goals. So I don't know if I answered the question, but at the end of the day, I believe that athletics and academics go hand in hand. But I think as young kids, we put our children involved, or we get our children involved in athletics. My son is 4 years old. He's on a swim team. He knows a coach and a swim team better than he knows his teacher in school, because he's in a nursery school. So we get our kids involved with athletics early on, so they respect coaches. They see coaches as people that have the answer. As they get older, when academics and athletics don't work hand in hand, that's when there becomes a divide. So I believe they both have to work hand in hand.
Now you have a couple of few athletes out here, very good athletes. What do you think their biggest motivation should be? Three things. I think out here, these kids gotta want to get closer to Christ. They gotta want to compete. They have to want to get to college. That's what we stand firmly on: faith in God, loving your heart, and confidence in yourself. So when you put those things together, those things that we stand strong on, that's what these kids here are going to have to aspire. They got to aspire to be closer to Christ. To be closer to Christ in a Christian environment means the world to me. You're going to have to want to compete, not only in the field of play, but in the classroom. Everything in life, like I told you earlier, is a competition. To find a great wife, you're going to have to compete. To find a great job, you're going to have to compete. So we teach them to compete. And then they got to want to go to college. I believe that in this day and age, if you are void of college education, you are putting yourself in a financial state that is going to be very haphazard for your lifestyle. So getting them closer to Christ, getting them to compete, and getting them to college is our goal. It'll always be our goal as long as I'm the head coach. And then they got to have faith in God, loving their heart, and confidence in themselves. Faith in God is the number one aspect to developing, because you have to be a faithful individual in order to persevere in life. To have love in your heart. You never hear men talking about love to men, but love is what conquers all. At the end of the day, love is the greatest aspect of our development. And then they have to have confidence in themselves. If you think you can, you most certainly can. If you think you can't, you most certainly can. It's what you believe about yourself and will allow you to achieve greatness. All right, we would like to thank Coach Thomas for that humbling interview. This was a Gridiron Elite exclusive with Eastern Christian Academy. Gridiron Elite exposure for the CSRA.
That's a touchdown.